My child, hear my voice today. Do not just nod politely and walk away, still carrying that crushing weight in your arms. Stop, listen, and let me speak to your soul. Stop right where you are. No matter what this day demands, let my words sink deep, deep down into the place within you that is so utterly tired. Not the simple exhaustion that a night of sleep can fix, though I know you feel that too. I mean the deep tiredness living beneath everything. It has been there so long that you have stopped noticing it, accepting it as just the way life has to be, the constant background noise of your life. That exhaustion is real, and I'm speaking out loud on its behalf today because you need to hear it. You have carried this burden long enough. It is time to lay it down. I know exactly what you are holding. I say this first because asking you to lay it down is meaningless if I do not understand the pressure you are under. But I do understand. I feel the weight. I am not speaking from a comfortable distance, watching your struggle from afar and offering detached advice about how you should just let it go. I've been right beside you in every moment of this carrying. I have seen what it has stolen from your life. I have watched it drain your energy, your hope, and the beautiful, soft lightness that belongs to a soul not forced to manage something heavy in every waking hour. I've seen the years go by, knowing everything you have survived and why you felt you had to keep holding on. I tell you now, you have carried this long enough. The season of carrying this burden the way you have is over. What I have for you next does not require you to hold it this way. Your next step requires you to lay it down. Let us spend time understanding what that truly means. The phrase is so familiar that it sounds easy, but you and I both know it is not easy at all. Laying it down does not mean you simply forget it. It is not pretending your pain was unreal, or that carrying it did not cost you everything it did. I'm not asking for a shallow spiritual ritual where you claim to release it, expecting a magic switch to flip and instantly heal all your inner pain. Letting go is not a single moment after which everything is instantly light. It is a direction. It is a daily turning. It is choosing, day after messy day, in your real human life, to place what you hold into hands that are infinitely more capable of carrying it than your own. It means you stop trying to be the sole pillar supporting a weight you were never meant to bear alone. Let me hold it, so you can recover your hands, your heart, and the life this carrying has consumed. Let me be absolutely clear about whose hands those actually are. I'm not asking you to drop it into the dirt or throw it into a silent void, hoping some vague spiritual concept will catch it. I am asking you to place it directly into my hands. I am here. I am present. I am the true home for the heavy things you carry. And I do not just hold your burden like a lifeless box. I am active. What you give to me, I work with. I hold it, yes, but I also heal it. I will transform it in ways that could never happen while you were clutching it so tightly, leaving no room for change to occur within your tight grip. Letting go is the beginning of your transformation. And that change is what you truly need. Not more advancing, and not just more quiet endurance. Not continuing to carry what has already exhausted you, but the actual redemption of your story. The true healing of your pain. It is the turn from a heavy burden to something that feeds your life instead of draining it. You have been strong for so long. Hear me say this clearly, not as flattery, but as truth. The simple fact that you are still here, still breathing, still seeking love and hope, while carrying this heavy weight with you every single day, is proof of a beautiful, yet incredibly costly strength. It is not the kind of strength born from an easy life. It is the power to keep moving when life is truly painful. It is waking up when the heavy burden is already waiting before you even open your eyes. It comes from showing up for your loved ones, your duties, and your days. Finding something to give even when your inner soul felt completely empty. That is no small victory. I see you. I call it what it is. And I am not asking you to throw away your strength. I am simply asking you to let that strength rest. Stop forcing it to carry the weight that only I was meant to hold. Let me redirect your energy toward the beautiful life I am building for you. This message is for you. If something deep inside you went completely quiet at my very first words, if you recognized the deep exhaustion before I even finished describing it, if your heart stirred when I said you have carried this long enough, then know that I am speaking directly to you. I am not speaking generally to some random crowd who might stumble across my words. I am speaking to you in the exact weight of your personal struggle. I know exactly what is in your arms, and I know the peace that awaits when you finally lay it down. If these words are meeting you in a place of deep need today, please support our mission through the link below. Your kind support helps bring this message to others who are still struggling under heavy weights, waiting for permission to let go. I want to speak the name of your burden. It is so much easier to let go of something when the voice speaking to you names the exact pain you feel in your arms. Let me name a few of the heaviest burdens my children carry for far too long. I do this not as a simple list, but to show you clearly that I see what is in your hands. I know what has bent your shoulders low. I understand the precise, painful shape of the load you have been holding. Some of you are carrying responsibilities that were never yours to bear. Heavy duties thrust upon you as a child before you were ready, by broken adults who turned to you and reversed the natural order of life. You were the child forced to be the emotional pillar for a parent, the child who ran the house because the grown-ups failed, the child who constantly watched every mood shift, walking on eggshells and changing who you were just to keep the peace. I watched you become so fluent in reading others' emotions and managing your own that you never got to just be a child who was held, rather than the child who had to do the holding. You took on that responsibility before you could even understand it, and it has followed you into adulthood, repeating the same pattern, always carrying what others cannot or will not, constantly monitoring, managing, and maintaining everything. You are always the strong one, the reliable one, putting your own needs last because someone or something else always demanded your attention first. My child, you have been carrying this pattern and its heavy demands for a very long time, and I am telling you, it is time to lay it down. Some of you carry shame. Its particular weight is that it never announces itself clearly. It never arrives declaring, "I am shame, and I make you hold back." It is the secret reason you make yourself smaller. It is the reason you believe being fully seen is dangerous. It is why you never allow yourself to want things openly, because wanting and not receiving before others feels unbearable. When shame rules your heart, it enters quietly, settles in, and starts to act like a filter through which you process your entire life. It becomes a quiet assumption that stains every connection, every dream, and every joy with the fear that it will be snatched away or exposed as undeserved. Shame is so heavy. It is one of the heaviest burdens you can bear, because it is not just a single weight, but a constant, suffocating atmosphere. It is not just a burden in your hands, but something that has seeped deep into your very bones. And I am telling you, you have lived in that dark air long enough. It is time to step out of it. I see some of you carrying an unfinished grief, a loss that occurred and was briefly noticed before the world forced you to keep moving. You moved before you were truly ready, like trying to adjust to the painful absence of someone who left years ago, or the end of a relationship that left an empty space, or the death of a dream, a version of your life that never came to pass. It is a future you once imagined so clearly, a self you still mourn in secret, while those around you have no idea you are still grieving. Unexpressed grief turns into a heavy weight, settling into your body, your mood, and that quiet, constant sadness you now accept as normal. You do not realize that what you call your personality is actually your grief searching for a quiet place to heal. I am telling you, bring your grief to me. Let it finish in my presence what the world never allowed you to finish before. I know some of you carry the heavy opinions of others. You still listen to the voices that told you what you could and could not achieve. They told you what you should desire and who you were allowed to be. Like a parent whose disappointment was delivered to you day after day. You internalized it, disappointing yourself before they ever could. Or the peer whose rejection taught you that belonging must be earned through performance. You constantly find yourself lacking, forever adjusting, editing, and offering a version of yourself that you hope will finally pass their inspection. Those voices are not your voice. Those standards are not my standards for you, and trying to satisfy them has stolen what was never theirs to take. I am telling you to lay it down. Their verdict is not the one that stands. Some of you carry deep unforgiveness. I say this gently, not as a harsh demand, but with the tenderness of a creator who understands exactly why you have held on to this pain. Unforgiveness is heavy, requiring so much of your inner strength to maintain. It demands keeping tabs, holding records, and tracking exactly what was done or left undone, what was said or never whispered, and what was never restored to you. Yet the person whose record you keep is likely completely unaware, living freely while you carry this massive weight on their behalf. This anger is not hurting them. It is only hurting you. I'm telling you, lay it down. Do it for yourself, not for them. Hand that account over to me. Let me handle the justice while you reclaim the precious energy this burden has stolen from you. Some of you are carrying fear. These fears are dictating your choices, shrinking your territory, and locking you inside a tiny life that is far smaller than the beautiful one I planned for you. Fear of failure stops you from trying, and fear of rejection keeps you from reaching out to others. Fear of loss stops you from embracing what you have, because fully accepting joy means it could be taken away, and you feel that risk is simply too great. When you wear fear long enough, it starts to look like wisdom or common sense. You think it is just how the world works, but I am telling you, that is not wisdom. That is only fear talking, and it has ruled your life long enough. Lay it down. Let me show you why you have held onto it for so long. Knowing why is not a sign of weakness or an excuse. It is the holy work of seeing clearly what has been controlling your heart. Honest sight is the first step toward real change. You do not carry this because you lack faith, or because you are somehow failing me spiritually. You have carried it because there are very real, very understandable reasons why you could not let go. I want to speak these reasons to you with the very same love and honesty, so you can finally look at them directly instead of hiding from them. The simple truth is, you were never shown how to put this heavy burden down. Those who raised you and taught you how to survive when life got hard were themselves carrying heavy weights they had no idea how to release. They carried their burdens in silent endurance, presenting a stoic strength to the outside world that was really just the painful absence of any other choice. And you learned from them, learned to shoulder every heavy thing that crossed your path. You learned to manage, to function under the load. You never laid it down because no one ever showed you how to let go. It was never offered as a real choice for someone in your shoes. Your only inheritance was this heavy carrying. I want to honor your absolute faithfulness in carrying this burden, but I also say this: your inheritance can change. What was passed down to you does not have to be passed forward. There is a different way to face the heavy burdens of life, and I am making it available to you today. The second reason you keep holding on is because you truly believe your carrying is what keeps everything from falling apart. You believe that if you put it down, something will collapse, whether in your relationships, your family, your home, or the community that silently depends on you to hold it all. You have always been the one to manage everything, and that role is so woven into the lives around you that stepping back feels like an act of betrayal. It feels like a betrayal of the people who rely on you to carry what no one else will. So, you just keep going. You shoulder your own weight, the burdens handed to you, and everything left behind because nobody else was willing or able to take it. You never complain because complaining feels like weakness, and you never ask for help because you refuse to be a burden to anyone else. You never lay it down because the lives resting on your shoulders seem far too fragile to survive if you let go. Hear me now. The things that are truly mine to sustain will stand without your help, and the things that would fall without your strength might need to collapse. They may need to hit the ground so that we can build something honest and lasting in their place. The third reason you keep carrying this is sheer exhaustion. A deep, bone-weary fatigue that makes putting it down feel much harder, not easier. Because the exhaustion you feel inside is not the kind of tired that leads to sweet surrender. It is a tired that narrows your vision and slowly drains away your imagination. A state where your choices shrink until only the most familiar paths remain. And the most familiar path is to keep carrying, because that is all you know. And any change, even one that brings sweet relief, demands energy you simply do not have. You are far too tired to let go. I know this. And hear me. I'm not asking you to scrape together the strength to lay it down from your empty reserves. I'm asking you to let me give you the strength. Let this release be a work we do together, not another task you struggle through alone. You do not need to summon the power to open your clenched hands. You only need to be willing to let me open them. The fourth reason you keep carrying this burden is that it gives you a sense of purpose. When your load is the responsibility for other lives, when your hands hold the safety of people you love, or the upkeep of something precious, carrying is no longer just a task. It becomes your identity. You say to yourself, I am the one who holds this together, the one who keeps watch, the one without whom everything would shatter. There is something in that identity that feeds a genuine, deep human need. Your need to matter, to feel necessary, and to have a clear role in the lives of those around you. I do not dismiss that need at all. It is completely real and legitimate, but I want you to consider if meeting that need through this exhausting, unsustainable struggle, holding things I never designed for one single person to carry, is truly the right path. Is there another way for you to matter? Another way to be needed that does not force you to carry the very things I am asking you to surrender? The fifth reason is simply habit. It is not weak or shameful, but a deep groove worn into your soul by years and years of constant repetition. A path so incredibly familiar that you walk it automatically, without a single thought, simply because your feet know the way. Every morning the weight is waiting, and you hoist it up. Not because you chose to, but because lifting it is just what you do when you wake. And the alternative, a morning where you choose to leave that burden on the floor, feels so foreign that you cannot even see it as an option without a massive, focused effort to imagine it. These habits of carrying are some of the hardest patterns to break. They are tied not just to repetition, but to your deep love, your sense of duty, and the very identity you carry alongside that heavy load. Breaking this habit does not happen in a single day. It happens every morning, when you choose a different response to the waiting weight. A daily choice that feels difficult at first, but slowly wears its own beautiful path. One carved not by years of endless carrying, but by the daily, quiet habit of letting go. I'm not asking you to conquer all of these deep hurdles in a single breath. I only ask that you see them clearly. Bring them into this quiet space with me, and let me speak my healing truth into every single one. Your reasons for carrying are very real, but they are not impossible to overcome. And I am the one who can heal them at the root. Let us speak honestly about what this constant weight is costing you. Sometimes, you must see exactly what you are losing before you are truly ready to let go. It is easy to count the cost of change, fearing what you might lose if you let go, while ignoring the heavy price you pay every day for holding on. And there is a heavy price. This weight has been quietly stealing from your life day after day for far too long. I want to name those losses today, not to make you feel guilty for a struggle you never chose, but because seeing the true cost clearly is what makes letting go feel not just possible, but absolutely necessary. This carrying is costing you your presence. This is the most dangerous cost of all, because you rarely notice when your presence is slowly slipping away. I watch you find yourself, over time, less fully present in the moments of your actual life, less able to genuinely be in a conversation without your attention drifting elsewhere, occupied with what you carry. You are running the background calculations of management and vigilance that this carrying requires. I see you unable to fully enjoy moments of beauty or connection, because the weight pulls your awareness back to itself. Those who love you have sensed this distance, even if they could not name it. They have felt the glass between you, that slight distance of someone physically there, but partially elsewhere. And I know you have sensed it too, watching your own life from a distance, rather than living fully inside it. The feeling that something always stands between you and your life. That something is the weight, and it demands your presence as the ongoing price for you to keep holding it. This carrying is costing you your creativity. The very energy I gave you for curiosity, imagination, and the beautiful work of building and dreaming of what is possible, that sacred energy is consumed by the weight. Creativity needs a quiet, interior spaciousness to breathe, a freedom to wander and explore, that is completely lost when the majority of your inner space is occupied with constant management. The things you once loved doing, which you no longer have any energy to pursue. The dreams that used to light you up now feel like luxuries you cannot afford. Your inner life has grown narrow, purely functional, and far less playful than I designed it to be. That narrowing is the heavy burden, and it is not worth what it steals from the soul I made to create, dream, and build. This carrying is also costing you your relationships, though not always in obvious or dramatic ways. Not through loud arguments or painful endings, but in the quiet, subtle ways this accumulated burden makes genuine intimacy so difficult to reach. Because of this divided presence, the people you love are rarely receiving the full, true version of you. The version that is fully curious, available, and ready to receive their love without this massive weight intercepting it first. Those who need you are only getting your strong, competent manager persona, but they rarely get to see your tender side. They do not see your vulnerability or the part of you that can ask for help. This carrying has trained you out of the beautiful exchange that deep relationships require, and those who love you most are holding on to a version of you that seems far more available than you truly are. The carrying is costing you your body, the physical body that holds all this stress in your tight shoulders, jaw, chest, and stomach. The body running at a higher baseline of tension than I ever designed it for. You ask it to perform as though it were carrying nothing at all, and so your body pays the price in constant fatigue, in physical symptoms with no clear medical cause, and in restless sleep because your guard never fully drops. You are aging so much faster under this chronic stress when I designed you for genuine rest. I created your body as a gift to help you live your life, not to serve as a scaffolding for this heavy burden. Your physical frame is telling you, through exhaustion and pain, exactly what I am trying to tell you through my voice right now. This is simply too much. It has been too much for far too long, and something must change. This burden is also costing you your faith. Not in some dramatic abandonment of belief, but in the slow, quiet erosion that happens when you have cried out to me for help with this weight, and yet it still remains. When your prayers have felt like whispers sent into absolute silence. Your spiritual life has become just another chore on your busy schedule, instead of the refreshing, intimate connection I created it to be. This heavy load has come between us in ways you have not yet named, casting a shadow over your prayers, your worship, and my word, leaving you merely going through the motions, while the real, exhausting, unresolved pain of your heart waits right below the surface. I have not moved, but the weight makes it so hard to feel my presence. I grieve so deeply for this toll on your spiritual life, this loss of closeness with me. And now, this carrying is starting to cost you your very future. Every single day that this burden consumes the energy, the presence, and the love that belong to the beautiful life I designed for you, is a day that is not being fully lived. Hear my heart. I do not say this to make you feel guilty, or to make you feel like you have wasted your life. You have not wasted anything. You have simply carried what came your way, managing as faithfully as you could. But a beautiful future awaits you that this burden is blocking. A vibrant life waits on the other side of letting go. Every day you delay laying it down is another day that life is kept waiting. This cost is so real. I reveal it to you today not to hurt you, but to add to the heavy stack of reasons why it is finally time to lay it all down. I want to offer you something today that you might not even realize you have been waiting for. I am giving you my direct, loving permission to lay down everything you carry. So many of my children delay letting go, not because they cannot do it, but because they feel they need permission, some official authorization from someone higher up to finally stop. Someone with the authority to declare that enough is enough and that you can stop. I am that authority. I know exactly what you were meant to bear, what extra weight you took on, and what was forced upon you without your consent. I look at the heavy pile in your arms and say with absolute authority, you have done enough. You have held this long enough, and you have my full permission to let it go. I give you my permission to stop being the one who holds everything together, to stop being the sole support of your family, your community, or your relationships. The one managing and maintaining everything so that nobody else has to struggle. You've been carrying a burden that was never meant to last, and never meant to be born alone. I give you permission to step back. Let the systems and the people depending on your strength grow their own capacity to stand. Or let them discover their true need for me, rather than their dependence on you. You are not the load-bearing wall of other people's lives. That is my role. I'm not asking you to abandon those you love. I am asking you to stop standing between them and me, to stop absorbing everything so they never have to seek me themselves. I give you permission to rest. Deep, true, unhurried rest. Not the fragile quiet that is always one crisis away from shattering, always shadowed by the awareness that the weight is still waiting for you on the other side. The peace that comes from actually laying the weight down. The quiet soul that follows when a constant, demanding burden is no longer held in your hands. The rest your body, mind, and spirit have desperately needed for a very long time. You do not have to earn my peace by finishing everything first. Do not wait for the work to be finished before you allow yourself to stop. This endless carrying will never complete itself on its own terms. You will carry this until you choose to stop, or until the weight breaks you in ways far more painful than that choice. I am asking you to choose. I am giving you permission to choose. Rest is yours right now, not later. Now, I give you permission to receive help. This step may be harder than it sounds. For so long, you have been the ultimate helper, building your entire world around being the capable one, the one who is always asked instead of asking, always giving instead of receiving. You have lost the ability to receive anything without feeling deep discomfort, without feeling out of balance, without that urgent need to pay it back immediately, just to keep the accounts even. I give you permission to let others help you. Name what you need. Allow someone else to be the strong one for a season, to simply receive love, without trying to manage it, without directing it, without trying to make it easier on them so they do not feel inconvenienced by your needs. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to let them be met. That is not weakness. It is simply the honest truth of what you are, a human being, limited in strength, designed for deep community rather than isolated self-sufficiency. I give you permission to drop what was never yours to carry, the heavy things placed on your shoulders without your consent, the obligations that fell to you because nobody else stepped up, the emotional weight of other people's unresolved pain seeping into you through love and a lack of defense, the high expectations, the duties, and the roles that were handed to you rather than chosen by you. You did not choose everything you are holding. Much of it arrived before you were even old enough to understand it. Some was forced on you by those who had no right to do so. You accepted it because you had to, because taking it was safer than refusing, because refusing brought painful consequences that carrying did not, because you were young, vulnerable, or simply too committed to say no to what they needed. That survival was not a contract. You never agreed to carry this forever, and I give you permission to set it down now. I give you permission to mourn what this carrying has cost you. Not in the spirit of bitterness or regret, but with raw, honest truth. You have lost so much. Years of your life surrendered to the weight instead of lived. Relationships that were managed rather than truly felt. Dreams put on hold because the burden consumed all they required. The version of yourself you could have been without this crushing weight. Those losses are deeply real, and they deserve your tears. Feeling them is not a failure of gratitude. It is the honest honoring of what was taken and what will never return. Honoring your grief is the only way to release it, rather than burying it inside where it slowly presses against everything else in your soul. I give you permission to believe that what awaits you after you let go is good. Not just empty space, not just the absence of pain, but something genuinely, beautifully good and worth reaching. The fear that life without this load will feel purposeless, empty, or less than what you know. I want to quiet that fear right now with this promise. I have prepared something beautiful for hands that are finally freed by letting go. Not an empty space, but something that fits the true shape of who you are, rather than the shape of the survivor you had to become. Trust me. Let this permission open your clenched fists. What is coming next is so good. You have my word. Let me tell you what happens when you finally lay it down, what I do with what you release, and what that heavy burden looks like from my side. If you know where you are dropping it, you will trust the release. You are not letting go into a dark void. You are not dropping it on the dirt, where it will wait for you to pick it up again. You are placing it into hands infinitely different from your own, and that difference changes everything once the burden reaches me. When you carry a heavy load, you hold it up with raw effort, straining your own fragile strength against the relentless gravity of it, spending your daily energy just to keep it aloft, trapped in constant vigilance, managing the strain and fighting the downward pressure. Human carrying always drains you because you are finite, and the things you carry are often far too vast for your limits. They crush the limits of what you can hold. And that pressure is exactly what produces this deep exhaustion. The slow, steady emptying of your spirit against endless weight. But when I carry something, I do not hold it with strain or effort like you do. Not because I am indifferent, or because it requires no care, but because my capacity has no limit. It is never depleted by the holding. I never grow weary of what I carry. I have no limit where your burden becomes too heavy, where holding you becomes impossible. What you place in my hands never strains my strength, for my capacity is boundless, unlike your fragile human reach. I can hold your heavy burdens forever, with absolute focus and tender care, never exhausting my endless grace for the rest of creation. The crushing weight that consumes you is, to me, simply being present with what is here. I am with it. I cradle it. And this holding costs me nothing, for my strength is instantly renewed. This means I carry your burdens perfectly and endlessly, without the weariness that drains your soul. But understand this: the difference between us goes far deeper than my endless strength. When you hold on to something, it tends to stay exactly the same. You grasp it, manage it, dragging it day after painful day, but nothing changes in your tight grip. The heavy pain of last year remains the exact same burden today. The burden that came to you remains frozen, because merely holding a thing cannot transform it. It is just holding. But when something is placed in my hands, it never stays the same. I do not hold your struggles passively. I actively work with whatever you bring. I cherish it, and I bring my divine nature to bear upon it. My nature is to restore, redeem, and create. I steer your brokenness back to what it was always meant to be, before damage and time tore it apart. The sorrow you carry does not remain sorrow in my hands. Shame ceases to be shame. Fear stops being fear, and anger is no longer anger. In my grasp, they begin their beautiful transformation. These are pieces I am shaping. Their final chapter will look nothing like the pain they were when they first arrived. This healing begins the very moment you let go. Your tight grip was actually blocking my work, keeping your burden where my healing hands could not fully reach it. Let me speak to you about how deeply I understand your burdens. There is a profound, holy depth to the way I receive what you surrender, something no human heart can ever offer you. When you lay your worries at my feet, you're not merely passing a load to a stronger helper who carries it with the careless detachment of a stranger lifting luggage. No, I receive what you bring with complete, intimate knowledge of its entire history, understanding exactly what it holds, knowing what it has cost you, where it came from, and what it truly means to you, the precious soul releasing it. I receive your heavy grief, knowing every single specific loss that brought you to this point. I receive your shame, fully aware of the lies that planted it and the fragile, tender vulnerability it has been trying to protect. I receive your deep fear, understanding exactly what it is trying to guard you from, and knowing if that shield is even needed anymore. When I lift the heavy responsibilities that were never yours to carry, I feel a righteous anger for you, seeing clearly what was unfairly forced upon your shoulders. My care is never passive. It is deeply intimate, personal, and entirely focused on you, the unique soul releasing the specific, heavy burden you have dragged for so long. And oh, the holy rest that opens up for you when your burdens leave your hands and enter mine. I want to talk to you about this piece, because it is my deepest desire for you. The rest I offer is not the relief of someone who has finished all their chores. It is the deep peace of a soul who has trusted their work to my capable hands. This difference changes everything. You can never truly finish all the work yourself. There will always be more tasks ahead of you. But releasing the heavy burden you have been carrying, the crushing pressure that has nothing to do with the normal, healthy rhythms of daily life, that is entirely possible. Letting go of that weight brings a deep peace that does not depend on life being perfect. You can truly rest while things are still sorting themselves out. You can rest while I am actively transforming your broken pieces. You can rest while I build your future. This sacred rest is available to you right now, not when everything is finally finished, but in this very moment of surrender, as you open your palms and choose to let my strong hands hold what you cannot. Come to me, lay your burdens down, and let me give you the peace you have missed for so long, trying to carry what was never meant for your hands alone. Help support this ministry through the link below. Your kind generosity will carry my words to other tired souls, waiting to hear this same invitation to find true rest in me. I want to show you what laying your burdens down actually looks like, in the practical moments of your daily life, on an ordinary, real day. Because I do not want this gentle invitation to stay in the clouds, a beautiful but distant concept. I want to give you something real and practical. Letting go is not just a pretty metaphor to admire and then forget. It is an intentional action with real internal steps. I want to guide you through these steps so that when you try, you will recognize the shift in your soul, instead of giving up because the peace did not look the way you imagined. The very first step of letting go is simply choosing to stop. Before you can drop a heavy load, you must first stop running with it. Yet most who carry heavy burdens keep themselves in constant, endless motion, because being still forces you to feel the entire crushing weight, whereas busy movement distracts you from it. As long as you are rushing to the next task, managing the next crisis, or meeting the next demand, the burden is there, but constant activity numbs the pain. But when you finally stop, the pain is right there, completely raw and undiluted, and you feel its full force far more than when you were running. This is why rest is so hard for the weary, not because you do not desire peace, but because sitting still brings your hidden agony into focus, and feeling the full pain is terrifying. But you must stop. You cannot drop a heavy burden while you are still trying to run with it. Relinquishing your burden begins with pause. It starts with choosing to be still, long enough to face the raw reality of your pain, without the shielding distraction of constant busy work. The second step in letting go is giving your burden a name. Once you stop and feel the weight, speak its name aloud to me. It does not need to be a complex label, just a completely honest one. Say to me, I am carrying grief from that relationship. Or, I am carrying shame from that season. I see you carrying fear about what lies ahead, wondering if you are enough. You bear the weight of people who have not learned to carry themselves. You carry unexpressed anger for what was done to you. I tell you, whatever is hidden in there, name it to me. Naming it does not mean resolving it. I do not demand an answer to what you name. I only ask for your honesty about what is there. Naming it brings the heavy weight out of the shadows and into the light, transforming a formless cloud into something real that you can hand over to me. What you name can be given to me far easier than formless, heavy clouds. The third step of laying it down is simply addressing me. You turn toward me, not with a forced physical posture, not with rehearsed words, but with a quiet shift deep within your soul. This is the very heart of prayer, shifting your gaze away from the heavy burden and looking directly at me, the one receiving it. Speak to me. Your words do not need to be eloquent or perfect. Simply tell me, I have carried this for too long, and now I give it to you. Or say to me, I do not know how to let go, but I want to. Help me open my hands. Or simply, here, just here. Naming your burden, turning your face toward me, and holding out your full hands in my direction. That is true prayer. This is the laying down. It is no empty formula. It is a real, honest choice made toward me, and I receive it as exactly that. The fourth step requires you to release your grip. This is the hardest part. Not because you lack strength, but because holding on has felt safe for so long. that letting go feels dangerous, even when it is not. Hands that have clutched a burden for years do not instantly relax just because you decide you want them to. You may need to consciously soften them, deliberately opening your fingers, uncurling them one by one. Be gentle as you feel the tension of holding on, and then the relief of letting go. Do this physically if it helps. Open your hands physically as you bring your heavy burdens to me. Let your body mirror and support the quiet surrender of your soul. Let this open gesture be the physical expression of what you are choosing in the spirit. It is not foolish. It is the embodiment of your real choice. Your body's participation in letting go supports your spirit, just as the physical expression of worship deepens the adoration of your soul. The fifth step is simply waiting. After naming, turning, and releasing your grip, wait for a quiet moment. Be ready to receive what I send back to you, which is never nothing. I've already told you what I do with your burdens. For now, I simply ask you, once you lay them down, stay with me for a moment. Do not rush to fill this open space with your next task, your next demand, or by picking up the weight again. Let the relief of letting go just linger. Breathe in the stillness of this new space. Notice if anything shifts deep inside you, however quietly. A gentle easing, a slight lifting of the heavy pressure, a soft whisper of peace starting to bloom at the edges of your tension. Paying attention to that shift is vital. It is how your body and soul begin to realize that something real has truly happened. It means the burden is no longer entirely yours to bear. Something has changed inside you, even if your outer world looks the same. Receive that quiet awareness. Let it be the first proof that your release was real, and that my work in your life has already begun. Let me tell you what happens next. I want to prepare you for what you will experience in the hours and days after you truly let go. If I do not warn you, it might take you by surprise, tempting you to believe that your surrender was fake or that it did not work. Here is what will happen. You will reach for that burden again, not on purpose, and not as a conscious choice to start carrying it, but hands that have clutched a heavy weight for so long have a muscle memory, a natural instinct to return to what is familiar. In the quiet hours after you give it to me, your hands will reach back toward that old weight without you even noticing. Your mind, used to constantly managing your burdens, will keep running those old survival patterns even after you let the weight go. It is like an old program running in the background long after the file has been closed. You will catch yourself worrying about the very thing you gave me. You will start planning, strategizing, and pulling it back to inspect it, making sure it is being handled well instead of trusting me. When you realize what you are doing, you will feel frustrated, wondering why you took back what you so sincerely gave to me. Hear me clearly. I tell you, this is not a failure. Reaching back does not mean your surrender was fake, or that you are unable to truly let go of your burdens. It only shows that the habit of carrying is deeply ingrained. Those old mental pathways are worn deep, and changing them takes more than one moment of surrender to me. Your letting go was real, even when your hands reach back. Your choice was real, even when your mind wanders. Your release was real, even if your body and nervous system are still learning how to exist without the weight of that constant pressure. What you do when you reach back matters far more than the reach itself. When you catch yourself reaching back, do not condemn yourself. Do not assume you have failed, or that others let go easier, or that handing things over to me is just a beautiful theory that fails in real life. I only ask you to look at what is happening with gentleness, not judgment. Acknowledge that you picked it up again, and lay it down before me as many times as you need. Laying it down repeatedly is not a failure of your surrender. It is how true surrender actually works. This is how we shape a new way. I'm carving a new path deep within your soul, running right beside the old. Slowly, this fresh groove will grow familiar. Soon your hands will open to release your burdens automatically, instead of reaching out to carry them. Let us speak of the guilt that shadows your release. So many of my children, when they finally drop their heavy loads, feel a deep shame for simply letting go. You feel guilty because your hands are no longer clutching what they used to hold. You feel guilty toward those who relied on you to carry it all. Sometimes you even feel guilty toward me. You worry that laying down your burden is a betrayal of faith, as if devotion means carrying until you break. Hear me now, directly and plainly, as I speak to this guilt. Setting down what I never designed you to carry forever is not a failure of faith. It is a return to holy alignment. It is the restoration of order. It is placing what belongs in my hands back where it has always belonged. It is the honest confession of your own human limits and trusting my infinite strength to hold what you cannot sustain. You owe no guilt for this alignment. It is never a failure of love toward those who rely on you. This is the dawn of a truer, lasting love. A love no longer fueled by your exhaustion, but sustained by my endless provision. And I want to speak to the emptiness. When you finally release a weight you have carried for years, the feeling that follows is rarely just pure relief. It is relief woven with a strange disorientation. You look at your empty hands and feel completely lost, unsure of what to do with the sudden, unsettling quiet that replaces the heavy noise of your endless struggle. You have built your entire life around that heavy weight. Without it, your soul feels restless, searching frantically for something to fill the hollow space where the burden used to rest. Hear me. This emptiness is temporary. It is not a sign of failure. It is the sacred space I have cleared for what I am about to build. It is the clean soil before new growth. Do not rush to pile new weights upon it. Do not reach for another burden simply because surviving is all you have ever known. Let the emptiness breathe. Allow this quiet season to remain, and let me fill the space. I will not give you another burden, but the gifts I prepared for hands that are finally free. When my rest finally comes, it will feel strange. Not because it is wrong, but because it is so deeply right. And you have survived so long without it. And peace can feel unnatural when you are used to the storm. I invite you to step into the quiet anyway. Allow yourself to be someone who does not yet know how to carry this new lightness. Be a soul that is learning, adjusting, and slowly discovering what life is like when your mind is no longer consumed by managing the heavy weight. I offer you this learning. I offer you this grace. To discover who you truly are, free from the burdens that defined you, is one of the most sacred and beautiful treasures of the healed life I have for you. I am waiting right here on the other side of your surrender, ready to show you who you are without the weight. I promise, you are someone worth meeting. Let me speak now of the people you carry. For so many of my children, the heaviest burden is not an abstract worry, but a living soul. It is someone whose happiness you have made your sole responsibility, slipping past pure devotion into a place that costs you far more than genuine love ever should. Consider the parent lying awake in the dark, weeping over an adult child making choices they are powerless to change. Consider the spouse constantly managing their partner's fragile inner world, absorbing every bitter spillover, smoothing every jagged edge, keeping the peace at the heavy cost of complete honesty. Consider the child who never stops trying to heal or earn the love of a parent who simply cannot give it. Or the friend who has built their entire life around someone else's endless crisis, living on call for another's pain so long that they no longer feel their own. Consider the soul who carries the heavy, unspoken anxiety of every relationship they hold, quietly monitoring the emotional state of everyone they love from a hidden corner of their mind, constantly tracking every shift in connection, trying to fix a disaster before it even happens. Carrying the weight of other souls is the hardest thing to surrender, because it never feels like a burden. It looks like love, and in so many beautiful ways, it is born of your deepest care. But there is a shape love takes when it is tangled with intense anxiety, when it tries to control every outcome for those you cherish, until it is no longer purely love. It is love driven by fear. It is love crippled by the terror of not knowing if the ones you cherish will be safe. It is carrying the hidden, painful belief that if tragedy strikes the ones you watch over, it is entirely your fault, a sign of your own failure. This kind of love, no matter how sincere, becomes a crushing weight that breaks your own spirit without ever saving the ones you hold. Let me tell you the truth about the souls you carry. They belong to me far more than they belong to you. That adult child you weep over is someone I knew long before you did. I love them with an infinite depth your devotion can never match. Their lives rest in my hands in a way they never could in yours, no matter how fiercely you try to hold them. The spouse whose brokenness you try to manage is someone I am already reaching in ways that do not require your constant control. In fact, your constant control might be standing in my way. By carrying their burdens, you prevent them from learning to bring their heavy weights directly to me. The parent whose approval you crave is carrying their own deep wounds. Their path is between them and me alone. You were never meant to heal their pain through your own endless striving and perfect performance. I'm not asking you to walk away or stop loving them. I am calling you to love them differently, to trust them to my grace, rather than replacing my infinite care with your constant anxiety. Yes, love them by releasing them into my hands instead of clutching them in yours. I know your own hands feel safer than the frightening step of trusting me with what you cherish most in this world. Releasing the people you carry does not mean you are letting go of love. It simply means freeing your love from the tight grip of anxiety. It means letting love be love again, pure, true, and free from the fear of what happens when you stop managing them. Stop holding their lives under the constant surveillance of your deep worry. I also want to show you what this release makes possible for the very people you have been carrying. Those you love have been shielded by your constant management, protected from the natural consequences of their own choices, because you always step in. They have avoided a direct encounter with me, because your constant shielding keeps them from the pain and difficulties that would have finally brought them to my feet. Your constant sheltering is not actually serving them as much as you believe. Meeting you directly in the midst of trials is how they will truly grow and build a genuine, lasting faith. It is how they discover their own strength and learn to depend on me when you are no longer there to manage everything. Letting go of this burden may be the most loving thing you ever do, because it will finally lead them directly to me. I know this is hard for you to hear. I see how real your love is, and I know your fear is real too. Stepping back might feel like you are abandoning them, but it is not. I would never ask you to abandon them. I'm simply asking you to place them into my hands. I want you to deliberately hand each person over to me, naming them one by one and declaring, I love this person, but I cannot carry them anymore. Say to me, they are yours, and I trust you with them. Repeat this prayer whenever anxiety creeps back in. Whenever you feel the urge to take control again, speak those words. It is the start of a much greater, deeper love. A love that trusts me to hold what you cannot control. Help share this message by supporting this ministry through the link below. My words are healing those who are exhausted from carrying heavy burdens, and your support helps reach even more of my children. Let us talk about rest now. Not as an idea to study, but as a space for you to enter. True rest is waiting for you once you finally lay your burdens down. I want you to know what this rest feels like, so when it comes, you can welcome it instead of fighting it or rushing back to the heavy weights you are so used to. The rest I offer you is not a simple vacation or a weekend free from your daily obligations. It is not just a brief break from a busy schedule. Those moments are good, and I do not undervalue them, but my peace goes deeper than a temporary change of scenery. I am offering you the relief of finally putting down what has crushed you. It is the quiet that fills your soul when you stop managing burdens and open your empty hands to receive all the beautiful things I have for you. My rest begins in your body. I begin here because your body shows the first signs of peace. Recognize these changes as my rest, not as something strange or uncomfortable. Your shoulders will finally drop, letting go of the constant tension and bracing for the next blow. Your clenched jaw will begin to soften. Your tight chest will open wide, allowing you to breathe deeply once more, far beyond the shallow gasps that anxiety and vigilance demand of you. These physical changes are deeply important. Your body is simply responding to the release within your soul. Something has shifted, and the heavy load is finally gone. You can let your guard down now. Let your body guide you into this peace. Feel your shoulders drop and your muscles soften. Breathe deeply. These physical shifts are not a distraction from your spiritual journey. They are my spirit moving through the physical body I created for you. As you heal, you will also notice a beautiful change in the quality of silence. When you carry a heavy load, silence feels heavy. because it forces you to face the burden without any distractions. You used busyness to block out the quiet and avoid the weight of your pain. But when you lay that burden down, the quiet changes completely. Silence is no longer an enemy, but a welcoming friend that holds you instead of draining you. This quiet is not empty. I am alive inside it. You will feel my presence in the quiet, knowing you are never alone. When the noise fades, you can finally hear me. Just let yourself be still. Do not fight your thoughts. Simply sit in the empty space where your heavy burden used to be and breathe. Just sitting there is holy rest, for I am right there with you. Now, you can finally focus on the beauty of this present moment. When you finally set your burdens down, you are gifted with the ability to truly live in the present. An overloaded soul is always torn between past regrets and future fears by the weight they carry. You constantly replay the past and fear the future, trying to manage it all. Because your mind is so divided, you miss the vibrant beauty of the present moment. But once you let go, your mind is finally free to focus on the beauty of the here and now. You will begin to notice the small wonders you missed before. The soft evening light, the comforting sound of a loved one's voice, the taste of food, the warmth of deep conversation. They were always there. Your attention was stolen from those around you. But returning that focus brings a beautiful, sacred rest, the quiet peace of a soul who is finally present, right where you actually are. This holy rest arrives when you pray. Our connection transforms the moment you lay down what crowds your soul, opening your heart for a deeper, quiet intimacy with me. Prayers that once felt like hard labor, like sending pleas into an empty sky, will suddenly transform into a soft, living connection between us. It is not because I have drawn closer. I am no closer now than I have always been. It is because you are finally here. The static of your struggle has faded, and the quiet channel of my voice is clear now, no longer drowned out by the heavy noise of your endless striving. When you are rested, your prayer becomes quiet, attentive, and truly two-sided, unlike the desperate cries of a heavy, exhausted heart. In this stillness, your soul receives, hears, and feels things that your heavy, tired mind could never hope to reach. Not because you are suddenly more holy, but because you finally have room inside to receive me. This is the gift I am offering you. I offer rest for your weary body, rest in the sacred silence, rest in this very moment, and rest in a prayer that finally hears my gentle voice. This peace is not a luxury meant only for those with easier lives. It is ready for you now, right in the middle of your messy, actual life. The moment you decide to drop what you have carried for too long. You do not have to wait for a better season. Do not wait for your world to change. The rest is found in letting go, a release that is ready for you this very second, offered in my words, waiting for you to receive it. Let me tell you what I will give you when you drop your heavy load. Because this trade is real, and it is glorious. Once you understand this, letting go will no longer feel like a painful loss. It will feel like the beautiful trade it truly is. Not a trade where you lose everything and gain nothing, nor one where you are left empty-handed, but a trade where what falls from your fingers is replaced by something custom-made for your soul. What I give you is not just a slightly lighter version of the heavy pack you have been dragging. I'm not just trimming down the heavy weights you hold. It is something entirely different in kind, shifting how you live, how you feel, and how you breathe. The very first thing I offer in exchange for your burden is my direct presence, completely free of static. Once you lay your heavy load down, your soul finally has room for the greatest gift I can ever give you. Simply myself. My direct, unfiltered presence living deep within your heart. I do not mean my constant, hidden presence, though I am always there, but a tangible, deeply felt presence. A presence you can finally feel once the loud noise of your striving stops drowning out the frequency of my voice. Your heavy burden has been so loud, filling your mind with endless demands, urgent checklists, and a constant humming anxiety. Yet beneath all that noise, quiet but persistent, I have been speaking. I have been right here. Now, as the clamor fades, my quiet presence becomes clear, rising from the background to become the very center of your heart. I trade your heavy load for my presence, and my presence is worth far more than what you drop. The second gift I offer you is a brand new kind of purpose. Carrying that load, despite the pain, made you feel needed, gave you a clear job, and made you feel that your very life was justified by what you held. When you finally stop carrying it, that old sense of purpose vanishes. That is why dropping the weight can feel like losing yourself, even while it brings relief. But the purpose I give you in return is never built on your total exhaustion. I offer a calling that does not demand you empty yourself to fulfill it. A sacred purpose rooted in the beautiful gifts I gave you before your heavy carrying ever started. Those precious gifts, once buried under your burdens, will now bloom and flourish the moment you let your heavy load fall away. This calling will fill you instead of draining you. It is a sustainable path for your entire life, rather than a fire that burns you up until you are completely empty. We trade your exhausting survival for my life-giving calling. And let me tell you, this calling is worth every single thing your heavy burden cost you. The third trade I offer is a promise I've spoken of before, but want to state clearly now. A deep rest that does not depend on your life being perfect. Your old burdens demand perfect conditions before you can catch your breath, and since life is rarely perfect, you almost never get the rest you crave. But the peace I offer is woven directly into the act of letting go. It is yours the moment you release it. Your bills must still be paid, your relationships remain messy, and your tomorrow is still unknown. Your circumstances may not change. Letting go does not magically wave away the hard realities of your life, but it transforms how your heart relates to them from the inside out. This deep inner shift is what lets you rest, regardless of your outer world. You can rest in a brutal season when you stop holding everything yourself. An exhausted soul cannot do this, because true rest does not depend on the weather of your life. It depends on the hands that hold you and your storm. The fourth gift I trade for your burden is my yoke. Let me speak clearly about this, because when I invited the heavy laden to come to me, my words were misunderstood. When I said those famous words, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light," I did not mean that walking with me costs nothing, or that a life of deep faith has no challenges. I meant that whatever I ask you to hold in partnership with me is matched by the strength I provide. A yoke is designed for pulling. It does not mean there is no work. It balances the weight, making your labor beautiful and sustainable instead of crushing and destructive. When I invite you into my yoke, I'm not promising an empty life. I'm offering you a different kind of labor, one shared side by side with me, where my infinite strength lifts you up, and what we carry together is always within the bounds of what our love can sustain. Give me the burden that is breaking you. Take my yoke instead, for it will not crush you. Let me replace your heavy, exhausting weight with a load designed for us to carry together. This holy exchange is ready for you right now, the moment you lay it all down. Please support this ministry through the link below. Your support helps send these words to those who desperately need this healing exchange. You were never meant to carry this all by yourself. Let me speak now of who you truly are when your burdens no longer define you. A beautiful, deeply surprising discovery is waiting for you on the other side of letting go. It is natural to wonder who you are when carrying heavy things has been your entire identity for so long. When you have always been the strong one, holding everything together, figuring out who you are without that weight can feel deeply disorienting. I want to help you find that answer, not with some generic picture of healing, but by showing you the beautiful soul that has been hiding underneath the heavy weight all along. The heavy things you carry have acted like a mask, hiding your true self from view. This weight has buried your true self, distorting who you are and hiding the beautiful qualities I gave you, making them so hard to find. But the person underneath all that struggle is not a stranger. You do not need to reinvent yourself from scratch. That person is the you who existed before the heavy years began. You are still that same soul, but now you carry a deep, quiet wisdom from the journey, free from the pain that once distorted you. As you finally let go, the very first thing you will feel is a sweet, personal lightness returning to your soul. This is not a silly or shallow kind of lightness. It is not the ease of someone who has never suffered. It is the deep, natural peace and openness that belongs to you when the crushing pressure is finally gone. Some discover their humor again, once crushed by the heavy gravity of their struggle. They feel a real, deep laughter. Not a fake smile to make others comfortable, but joy bubbling up because their hearts are no longer consumed with managing the pain. Others discover a fresh curiosity, a genuine wonder about the world and its people that was once choked out because survival demanded all their focus. Some discover their creativity again, the urge to build and imagine, which needs a quiet, inner freedom that their burdens used to steal. These gifts are not new. They are simply returning to where they always belonged. You will also find a deeper kind of compassion. Not the tired love of an exhausted soul who gives from an empty well, wondering why they feel so utterly hollow inside. This is the grace of a soul that has rested in me, one who has learned to receive love and knows what it means to be rescued. Now you can give out of absolute fullness, rather than from a desperate, anxious need to be wanted. This love lasts. It is powerful because it flows from my endless abundance, not from the fear that you are failing if you ever dare to stop. The love you share after letting go is the greatest gift you will bring back to the world. It is infinitely more powerful because you are rested, no longer running on empty. Your true desires will also return. These are genuine desires for beautiful things, hopes you buried so deeply you might not have even noticed they were gone. When your entire mind is consumed with just surviving, there is simply no room left to admit what you actually want, what you need, or what you secretly hope for. But those hidden dreams do not die. They just wait quietly in the dark. Sometimes they show up as a restless ache, a constant feeling of emptiness that you cannot quite put into words. As you let go, these dreams will rise to the surface. Some are old, familiar longings you never allowed yourself to pursue. Others will completely surprise you, hidden deep beneath the heavy burdens. Do not be afraid. Let them surface. Give them a name. Desiring things is not selfish. It is a signpost showing who you are and why I made you. I care deeply about your dreams because I am the one who put them there. They are part of my beautiful plan for your life. You will also find your true voice again. Not the tired voice that only speaks of duties, always trying to manage the endless needs of everyone else. This is your genuine voice, the one that speaks your deepest thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and desires. It is the voice you silenced to keep others happy. But you have beautiful things to say, and I want to hear them. The people who truly love you want to hear them too. As you lay down your burdens, your voice will begin to speak more freely. Not all at once, but slowly, as your heart becomes a safe and peaceful place for your true self. The constant need to guard yourself will fade as the weight lifts, leaving beautiful room for you to just live and be exactly who you are. This is what is waiting beneath your pain. You are not broken or ruined by the weight. Your true, beautiful self was just covered by it. And letting go is not about digging up some strange, unfamiliar version of yourself. It is a homecoming. It is the sweet return of what was always there. I'm restoring the person I created when I first knit you together. I've been waiting to see you shine, once this heavy weight is finally laid down. Now, let us speak of your relationships. Because carrying so much has shaped your connections with others, and those connections will begin to change as you find your freedom. I want to prepare you for these changes, so you can walk through them with perfect peace instead of fear. When you finally lay down your heavy burdens, the changes in your relationships will be profound and deeply disorienting to your soul. Those who built their connection with you when you were crushed by that heavy weight must now learn to know the version of you that walks free. This transition takes time and will spark friction before it finally delivers you into the deeper love I have planned. The very first shift you will notice is a change in what you can offer. You have been carrying too much for too long, present in your relationships only through the lens of that struggle. You forced yourself to be the strong one, the reliable savior holding everyone together. Though you played that role out of pure love, it actually kept people at a distance, keeping you trapped in a cycle of constant giving instead of receiving. You are managing lives instead of living them, being useful instead of being truly known. As I release you from that weight, the walls will crumble. You will finally be available. I do not mean just having more hours and physical energy. I mean being genuinely present, open, and fully there, in a way that you, when you were constantly distracted by your heavy load, could never fully be. The people who love you will witness this shift, and some will embrace it immediately. Others will feel shaken because they built their connection around your old role. This beautiful new chapter will force them to adapt to who you truly are. I'm also shifting the way you give and receive care. By always being the ultimate, tireless giver, you have unknowingly trained the people in your life to stop offering anything back to you. You rushed to handle everything before anyone else could step up. You silently signaled to them, though you did not mean to, that you had no need for their help. You pushed away their love so consistently that they eventually stopped offering it altogether. Now, as you stop giving from an empty cup and learn to receive, some will gladly step into the quiet space I am opening for you, bringing the love and support they have always longed to give, but were never allowed to. Others will hesitate. They will need a clear invitation from you, a gentle reminder that things are changing, and that you finally welcome the care you once refused to receive. Do not fear these crucial conversations. Speak openly with those who love you. Let them know the guarded version of you is gone, replaced by a soul who can finally be reached, helped, and held in return for all the holding you have done. I also want to speak to you about the connections that will not survive this transition, or those that will change so completely they feel entirely new. Much of your social world was built purely upon the heavy burdens you carried. You were constantly managing connections that only existed because of shared struggles and pain, where you did all the heavy lifting while others depended on you. That was the shallow bond of a manager and the managed. These dynamics must shift once you stop managing. Some will blossom into beautiful, equal partnerships as the artificial walls melt away under my grace. Others will expose the painful truth that they only loved the tasks you performed, not the beautiful soul I created. Though this truth will hurt you, it is a revelation you desperately need. And some friendships will simply evolve into healthier, far more honest spaces than they ever were when those heavy burdens defined them. The new companions I am bringing to your side are matched for the true self I am raising up. They are drawn to your authentic soul, not the exhausting role you used to play. They will meet you in a beautiful, honest exchange of love that your burdens once blocked. I promise you, they are on their way. I have been preparing them for you, and preparing your heart for them. The bond you share will feel unlike anything you have ever known, because real love never feels like a business you have to manage. It will be restful, deeply nourishing, and able to sustain itself without the grueling effort that one-way giving always demands. I must also speak to you about your own relationship with yourself, because laying this weight down will completely transform how you treat your heart when you are around other people. The constant self-policing your burden demanded, that endless anxiety over whether you were good enough, whether everyone around you was surviving, and how much of your own soul you had to shrink just to keep the peace for them. As the weight lifts, that anxious noise will quiet. You will stop performing to earn love and instead begin to truly see the precious person sitting right in front of you. You will show up to conversations no longer as a controller, but as an active participant. You will soon find your connections becoming completely effortless. All the energy you once wasted on carrying burdens can now flow into spontaneous joy, the natural state of a heart that is no longer managing everyone else's lives. This is the beautiful gift I offer you when you lay it down. I do not offer you forced techniques, but the gift of pure presence. And presence is exactly what I am restoring to you. Now, let us speak of purpose. I want you to see what becomes visible when your hands, once entirely filled with burdens, are finally freed to hold what I have been preparing for you. This letting go is not the end of your story. It is a glorious beginning. I'm ushering you into the exact life I designed you to live, the life that was hidden behind those heavy years, which now blooms as you let go. I've not cancelled your divine purpose because of your struggles. It has simply been waiting. As the weight dissolves, your destiny will shine clearly. Trust me, Those exhausting years of carrying burdens were not wasted, nor did they ruin the sacred plan I have for you. I know you feel tempted, as this heavy burden lifts, to believe that the time you spent carrying it was entirely wasted. But the life I designed for you has been delayed or diminished by the weight. But I do not work that way. My plans for your life were not built for perfect conditions, destined to fail the moment difficulty arrives. I have a plan for your real life, the one that holds everything you have suffered, everything you carried, and all it shaped inside you. This plan unfolds not in spite of your burden, but because of it. Your heavy years have shaped something essential for the unique purpose I have for you. The profound depth of your compassion and your intimate knowledge of what it truly means to be weighed down, the hard-won wisdom of what keeps a soul alive through long, exhausting seasons. None of this is accidental. It is the very heart of your calling. Because here is what your purpose includes. Those who are still trapped in the very fire you are escaping. The souls carrying the exact burdens you once bore. Those crushed by the same weight you endured, who do not know the permission I grant you today. They have never heard a survivor say with absolute authority that they can finally set it down. They must know there is someone to give it to, that my hands on the other side of their release are strong and steady enough to hold whatever they let go. These weary souls need a witness who understands this pain from the inside, not someone speaking from the safe, comfortable distance of someone who has never suffered, but a witness who can say, I know this path because I walked it, and you are stronger than you think. And you can say, I know letting go is possible. I know the one who receives what you surrender, and I can promise you from my own experience that he is faithful. That testimony belongs to you. Not when you are perfectly healed, not when you have finally arrived on the other side, but right now, in the messy middle of your release, you are already fully equipped to help those who walk just one step behind you. As you keep letting go, your authority will only grow. I also have a beautiful purpose for you that has absolutely nothing to do with your past wounds or burdens. A purpose rooted in the unique gifts, passions, and strengths I placed inside you when I created you. They were buried deep under the heavy demands on your mind, just waiting for the freedom this release will bring. The things you love, the talents I gave you that come naturally, the dreams that make you feel truly alive, the joy of finally doing exactly what I created you to do. Your heavy burden has been stealing the energy those dreams require. As you let go, that strength returns for the things I always designed you to do. Watch closely for what begins to bloom inside you as you surrender this weight. Notice the desires waking up, the urge to build, to create, and to pursue the passions that were once blocked by the demands of your heavy load. These inner stirrings are not distractions. It is your divine purpose beginning to breathe again. Let me speak to you about my timing. Because finding your calling after a long season of carrying often brings a sudden, desperate panic. You feel like you must rush to catch up, to make up for lost years, and retrieve what the weight stole. Let me address that anxiety with absolute gentleness. Your timing has always been perfectly safe in my hands. Nothing I planned for your life has been lost forever, and my beautiful promises for you have no expiration date. The doors of opportunity I open for you cannot be shut by your burdens, any more than a cloudy morning can cancel the sunrise. The sun still breaks through, and the blessings I have prepared for you will arrive on time, no matter how dark your past has been. My timing is not a rigid schedule, easily broken by human weakness. It is a living, breathing movement, guiding you toward everything I have always dreamed for you. My plan remembers every tear you cried, every heavy weight you carried, and everything you are finally letting go of today. Walk into your destiny with open hands, instead of desperately reaching for the moments you think you lost. Do not exhaust your soul trying to outrun the past and recreate your old weariness. Instead, move with the gentle pace of a child who has finally laid their heavy burden down and is learning how to walk freely again. Be curious, open, and ready for whatever grace each day holds. Trust that I am leading you, and my speed is perfect. Your purpose is real, and it is coming. It is already alive inside your wisdom, your deep empathy, and the compassion your struggle carved out. It is growing, becoming completely itself, expanding as you make room by letting go. Now, let me give you a practical tool to hold as you step into the days ahead. I know it sounds ironic to ask you to carry something when I am telling you to let go. But hear my heart on this. I want to give you simple daily practices, tiny steps to weave directly into your normal routine. Over time, these gentle habits will make absolute surrender feel far more natural to you than holding on to your heavy burdens ever was. Because laying down your heavy load is never just a single, one-time event. It is a daily choice, and choosing surrender is much easier when you have a gentle rhythm. Your first step is the morning reflection. Before the noise of the day starts and demands pull you forward, take a quiet moment to look closely at what you are grabbing, not your checklist or your endless chores, but the invisible weights your heart is instinctively trying to carry into this brand new day. The same old worry, the familiar anxiety, or the heavy burden that belongs to someone else or to me, which you grabbed the second you woke up. Simply name what you find, honestly and without guilt. I am reaching for this worry today. Then make the choice to lay it down. Do not do it as a forced religious duty, but as a real decision to place in my hands what is weighing down yours. Just 30 seconds of honest self-awareness and 30 seconds of surrender will slowly change your morning. It takes time, and old habits will fight to return, but gradually, as the mornings accumulate, the posture of your day begins to shift, because your morning posture has changed. Your second daily practice is the midday check. The heavy carrying tends to creep back in during the midday hours. It happens quietly, through small worries and tiny managements that build up until, by afternoon, you are carrying the same weight you surrendered to me this morning. Pause for a midday moment of noticing, brief and without self-condemnation. Ask yourself simply, what have I picked back up since this morning? Then, quietly surrender it again. This does not have to be a formal interruption of your busy day. It can happen in a transition moment, between tasks, as you walk from room to room, or in the quiet seconds before a meeting begins. Simply say, I notice I am carrying this again, and I choose to lay it down. Then, continue your day with a lighter heart. Your third daily practice is conscious receiving. Once a day, make a deliberate choice to receive without pushing it away. Accept a compliment rather than dismissing it. Let someone care for you instead of minimizing and returning the favor. Linger in a moment of beauty or goodness instead of rushing right past it. Sit with a moment of my presence, a quiet whisper, or a thought of me, rather than letting it slip away unacknowledged. If you are used to carrying everything, you might struggle to receive. Giving is so natural to you that receiving feels uncomfortable, wrong, and in need of quick repayment. Practicing this small, daily act of receiving is the antidote. It trains your inner life toward the posture of the open hand, rather than the full one. And this simple practice of receiving opens you up to receive the greater things, the beautiful life I am building in the space your surrender creates. Your fourth daily practice is the evening surrender. Before you sleep, make a conscious choice to release the entire weight of the day. This is not a review of your failures, nor a rehearsal of unresolved worries and things you still feel you must manage. It is a releasing, as simple as telling me, I am done carrying today. Whatever I picked up, I am putting down now. And saying, whatever belongs to you, my Lord, I return to you. You are going to sleep without the heavy weight, trusting that what must be held overnight is held securely by me, and that you will face tomorrow only when it comes, not carrying it through the night. This evening surrender is one of the most vital practices I offer you. Your sleep is directly shaped by whether your body and soul are truly released to me, or if you continue carrying burdens through the night. Consistently surrendering your nights to me will gradually transform the quality of rest available to you in the dark hours. Your fifth daily practice is gratitude, specifically for the laying down, not a general thankfulness, but a specific noticing and naming of what has changed in your life because you laid your burdens down. A morning that felt slightly lighter than before. A conversation where you were truly present rather than distracted by anxiety. A moment of real rest that arrived without your striving. A prayer with me that felt effortless and deeply mutual. These small signs of change are real. Acknowledge and honor them, for they are the visible surface of the deep work I am doing underneath. As you let go of weight, a new quality of life emerges. Naming these changes, even quietly, builds the faith and endurance you need to sustain this practice on the hard days. When my work seems hidden from your eyes, being grateful for these moments is, in itself, another way of laying them down. It is choosing to focus on what I am freeing, rather than what you still hold. And the sixth practice, underpinning all others, is your daily return to me. Not as a rigid chore, but as the repeated, genuine choosing of my presence over trying to manage your entire world all on your own. Turning to me daily creates the sacred space where these practices thrive, and where the surrender I am calling you to is ultimately sustained. Come to me daily. Do not wait until the weight is unbearable. Do not seek me only in crisis. Come in the ordinary, manageable days, just as much as the hard ones. Let your daily return to me replace your habit of daily carrying. This slow, imperfect trade, made over many passing days, is the deep inner transformation I am leading you toward. If you are blessed, support this ministry through the link below. My words exist to give you solid ground as you learn to lay down what you have carried for too long. Let me show you the picture of what lies ahead, not as some distant, uncertain hope, but as a true promise of what opens up for you as surrender takes root and your new life on the other side of the burden begins. You must know what you are moving toward. Choosing to drop what your hands instinctively grasp is much easier when I give you a clear vision of the life your surrender is producing. You need something beautiful to run toward, not just something heavy to run away from. Let me show you what I see when I look at the beautiful soul emerging through this process. Ahead of you are mornings that begin differently. They will still have their ordinary challenges. They will not be exempt from the natural demands of living, but your first waking thought will no longer be the settling of that old, familiar weight. Waking up will not trigger the need to carry. Your body will have truly rested because your nervous system was no longer standing guard. Instead, opening your eyes will bring a moment, however brief, of genuine lightness. You will feel a brand new day beginning without the predetermined, heavy burden that has chained itself for your mornings for so long. That morning is coming. It will not happen all at once, and there will be slip-ups along the way. But it is coming. But my peace is coming, one morning at a time, built from the quiet accumulation of your evening surrenders, your morning inventories, and your daily choice to let go. To wake up without that weight is one of the most ordinary and extraordinary gifts I offer you, once you finally lay down what has been pressing you so hard. What I have ahead for you is lightness returning to your body. Your shoulders, so long braced and elevated against the struggle, will finally drop to where I designed them to rest. Your jaw will soften, and your chest will open to deep, full breaths you simply could not take while holding on. The exhaustion that sleep could not cure will slowly start to lift. As I help you release the internal burden causing it, your body will no longer have to waste its energy on carrying the weight. The physical relief when you lay it down is real, and it is deep. And it is one of the most tangible ways my freedom registers in your physical body when you genuinely surrender it all into my hands. Let your body tell you when things have shifted. Let this physical ease be proof of the spiritual work I am doing. They are not separate. What lies ahead is your ability to be truly present with the ones you love, not the partial presence of trying to manage and carry everything while you try to engage with others, but the full presence of a soul whose deep interior is no longer occupied elsewhere. You will finally give the undivided attention that real connection requires. You will be curious about the person right in front of you, instead of worried about the logistics of carrying. Your relationships will feel completely different when you are fully present. Your conversations will go deeper, and the love you feel will be so much easier to give and receive. Your connections will shift from managed to genuine, and I will surprise you with how vast the difference between them really is. That deep presence is indeed coming, born from the surrender you are starting right now. What lies ahead is the beautiful, specific life I have kept safe for you through all your years of carrying. I tell you this plainly because I need you to know that laying this down is not giving up on your life. It is the moment you finally receive it. The life you lived while carrying was precious to me, but it was only a partial life. A life lived under the constant pressure of what you were holding. But the life I have for you when you let go is more real, more aligned with who I made you to be, and far greater than anything you could experience while your mind was consumed by carrying. That life holds the specific purposes I have been shaping and the relationships I have been preparing. It brings joys, meaning, and a real purpose that need a version of you who is not weighed down. These promises are real, and they are coming to you. They are already appearing at the edges of the space you are opening up. What lies ahead is a brand new kind of faith. Not the faith of an exhausted soul who only runs to me in crisis, nor a faith built on desperately managing what is too heavy. Today, I declare that burden broken at its very source. The deep tiredness that sleep could not cure, the exhaustion that no rest could replenish, the weariness born not from lack of sleep, but from the constant energy of holding on. I am reaching into the very source of it. As you let go, the strength you wasted on holding will return to you. I am restoring everything that was depleted, not all at once, but steadily and surely. In proportion to your release, I am returning every single resource that carrying stole from you. I speak to the people you have been carrying. I declare that I receive every single one of them by name. They are known to me, held in my love far better than you ever could. I will not leave them uncared for as you let them go from your hands. I am receiving them into my own. I am the God who cares for everyone at once, with absolute attention and infinite love, never growing weary like you do. And to those you are letting go, I say, come to me. The one who carried you loves you deeply, and letting you go is an act of love, trusting me with what they could no longer carry. Come straight to me. I have been waiting for you. I speak to the shame you have carried, the deep regret over struggling so long, the guilt of not letting go sooner, and how you think your heavy heart has hurt those around you. I declare that shame has no power over you now. You carried that weight out of love, loyalty, and because you saw no other way, not because you were weak or failed. I do not look back at your years of struggle and see someone who fell short. I see a soul who gave everything they had and kept giving far past their limit. How I honor your faithfulness is not with shame. It is with my deepest tenderness. It is my personal, deep gratitude for the love your burden showed, even as I release you from carrying it any longer. And I speak directly to your fear of what comes after, the fear of emptiness, of who you are without the pain, and the worry that without the weight, there won't be enough of you left to matter. I promise you, what remains after you let go is far greater than what you had before the struggle ever started. For while that burden was taking from you, it was also shaping you. The depth, wisdom, and compassion forged in your fire will remain as my gifts, long after the weight is gone. Your hands are not empty just because they are free. They are open, and I am filling them with what I prepared for this exact moment, for this exact, beautiful version of you, emerging as the weight is laid down. I speak over your future, and I declare that it is genuinely good. Not the future you have been imagining through the heavy lens of your struggle, the future you filtered through your exhaustion, your limits, and the narrow horizons of carrying too much for too long. But your real future is the one I see from where I stand, far ahead of you. It holds things you cannot yet see, shaped by what I am building in the space your release creates. That future is beautiful. My path brings rest, purpose, true connection, the pure joy of your soul putting down what I never designed for your hands and grasping what I did. I declare that future open to you, moving towards you even now, arriving step by step with every act of your release. It comes in mornings that feel fresh, in deeper relationships, in prayers that become a shared whisper, and in your body, finally letting go of the heavy burden. And over everything, I declare my presence, the intimate, unwavering, personal presence of the One, who has walked beside you through every single moment of your heavy carrying, who stands with you now as you let go, and who will guide your every step into what comes next. I am not leaving. I have never left. Your lonely struggle was only a blind spot to my presence, not my actual absence. I was there. I am here. I will always be there. And what you are letting go of, I am receiving. I am entirely strong enough to hold it, completely committed to transforming it, and deeply in love with the soul who has finally, faithfully, opened their hands. Help me reach more souls through the link below. Every heart touched by my words is learning to lay down what they were never meant to carry alone. Your giving makes this possible. Now, our quiet time together is drawing to a close, but I will not close with a simple summary. I close by sending you forward, commissioning you into the rest of your day, your week, and your entire life, carrying the sacred weight of my words. They are active within you, shaping your quiet inner spaces, doing exactly what I sent them to do, long after this moment ends. Because my words were not sent merely to teach you about letting go. They were spoken to make it happen, to be the very act of release, preparing your heart to finally let go of the burdens we have spoken of. If something has shifted within you today, even slightly, that change is real. It is the beginning of a work that I promise to sustain. You came to me carrying a heavy load, and you might still feel its weight as you leave, still holding on to what burdened you when you first arrived. True release does not happen in a single moment, no matter how deep or how honest our conversation has been. But I want you to notice if something has changed in how you carry it. Does the burden feel more acknowledged, more honestly seen for what it really is? Does my permission for you to drop it feel more real than before? And does my invitation to bring it to me feel more accessible, less like a theory, and more like something you can actually do in your daily life? If any of that is true, something sacred has happened here. Honor it, even if it is not yet finished. I want to give you one sentence to carry from our time, an anchor to return to when the day grows difficult and the old carrying resumes. When the weight you laid down tries to settle back on you in the morning, speak these words. I have carried this long enough, and I am laying it down now. This is not a claim of perfection or that your struggle is completely over. It is simply a declaration of your direction and your holy intent. A turning back to me that you can make as many times as you need, whenever the old weight calls you back. When the morning weight settles in before you even open your eyes, whisper, I have carried it long enough, and I am laying it down now. In the heat of the day, when your control tries to grab what you surrendered, whisper, I have carried it long enough, and I am laying it down now. In the dark of night, when your mind refuses to rest and replays old worries, whisper, I have carried it long enough, and I am laying it down now. Those words are a door. Every time you speak them, you step through, returning to the path of freedom, opening your hands once more to me. Let me tell you about those who will witness your change. Because as you continue to let go, as the heavy burden lifts, and the beautiful soul I created becomes visible, active and free, those around you will notice the change. They might not be able to name it, but they will say, you seem lighter or more present. They will know something is different. Let them wonder. Let them notice. You do not have to explain this change or make it comfortable for those who preferred the version of you that was always crushed by burdens. This transformation is good, it is real, and it is mine. You owe no one an apology. Just give me your permission to keep working. Simply choose to lay it down each day instead of picking it back up. Keep walking in the direction we are heading. Hear me clearly now as we close. I am so proud of you. Not because of your performance, and not because you must keep earning my favor. I am proud of you, as a father who looks at his child who has survived a terrible storm, who has finally come to me for help saying, I see what this cost you. I see everything you have survived. I see the quiet love and endurance that kept you going long after your strength was gone. I am so glad you are here with me now. I am glad you arrived. I'm so glad you welcomed my voice today, and I am fully committed to everything that comes next. I will rebuild you, restore you, and fill your open hands with what you were always meant to hold. Step forward into your day with your hands open, knowing that whatever you let go of does not fall into a void, but straight into my loving, waiting hands. Walk ahead, knowing that the soul waiting on the other side of this burden is not smaller, but infinitely more free. You will not lose yourself. Instead, you will finally find the true strength that was buried beneath the crushing weight of your burdens. Step forward, knowing I am walking right beside you, not as a distant observer, but as your active, deeply loving, and fully present companion on this entire journey. I am the one who receives what you lay down. I build in the empty space that surrender creates. And I have prepared your next step since before you first carried this burden. You have carried this burden long enough. It is time to lay it down. I am here. I've always been here. And I am not going anywhere. Support this ministry through the link below. My words found you today. There are others still carrying heavy burdens who have not yet been found. Your generosity sends these words of mine to them.